Hey, Mr. J, how are you doing? Okay, so moving on with our work for Chapter 8. Here we have another data set. We have an ordered data set. So if you get a data set that is not originally in order from least to greatest, very first step, put it in order because that'll make all the rest of your work a lot easier. Okay, so we have an ordered data set, and this data set contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 data points. Uh, and I want to make sure that you know a little bit of terminology that I kind of glossed over earlier. This value here and this value here, these are two important uh, points in the data set. This is called the minimum value. That kind of makes sense, right? Or min for short. And this is called, wait for it, the maximum value, M-U-M, or max for short. And then what that means is that when you calculate the range, technically speaking, the formula for calculating the range is max minus min, just in case you see something like that on a test or to help you and it ends up confusing you. I don't want that to confuse you. Okay, so let's focus back down on another important aspect, and that is we're going to talk about the lower half and the upper half of the data set. And the way we determine what is the lower half and the upper half is not that difficult. You may have already figured this out by looking at this. We're going to say that in this case, because we have an odd number of data points, this middle value right here is called what? This is called the median. And that means that everything down here, all of these other values, are the lower half. And everything up here is the upper half. Pretty simple, right? Okay. And notice that the median itself is left out because it's right in the middle, so it doesn't fall into either side. And so hopefully that makes sense of the next thing that I'm going to say, which is we did this with an odd number. Now, what if we had an even number? What if we had a smaller data set? Let's just say 6, 12, 19, 42, 81, and 103, just to make up some numbers. Now, this time we have a median that's right in between 19 and 42. And really quick, 19 plus 42 equals 61 divided by 2 equals 30.5. You don't necessarily have to know how to do that in order to do the next little bit that I'm going to do. But let's just say that we know that the median here is 30.5. Okay, and that's right in here. And notice that value falls right between the two parts. So it makes a little sense that if we want to divide this into a lower half and an upper half, all of these values, these three values will be the lower half, and these three values will be the upper half, and no value will be left out. So that little distinction, the median, when it is part of the data set, is left out of the lower half and upper half, and that's when you have an odd number of values. But in this case, the median isn't left out. It isn't left out because it isn't part of the data set, right? Does that make sense? So now you understand how to do the lower half and the upper half, and that will lead us on into our understanding of doing box plots, and that'll come next.